one of the best ways to get better at drawing and painting is to doodle. It means that you're picking up the pen, picking up the pencil and the paints, and you're playing with ideas. And in this week's Doodle Club, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So welcome! Welcome if you are new. This is a very happy place. And welcome if you've been with me for a while. We're going to have a lot of fun today, and it's going to be really good. I hope it's going to be good. Enough of me waffling on. Let's go. Well, here we are. And guess what? It's raining again. But never mind, it's good for the flowers. In today's Doodle Club, we're going to create little abstract doodles and we're going to play with watercolour paints. These are the Analinky vibrant colours. They're sort of a mid-price range. They last for ages and the colours are superb. So I am going to be using some scraps of paper. I thought we were going to do a bit of a budget thing, really. I've also got some postcards, so I'm going to play with those, and I'll do some stuff in my sketchbook as well. Now you're going to need paper that has some substance to it, so copier paper is not going to work, but you could use wallpaper and wallpaper lining paper, which will work really well. Going to need some sort of pen. I've just got a graphite pen here. Pencil if you want. You can go use a pencil. Any sort, that would be fine. I'm going to use my pen so that you can see what I'm doing. Let's straighten up a little bit here because it's all gone a little bit squiffy. I really hope you are well. I'm very well. I enjoyed our brief moment of summer, which was quite glorious actually. We had some beautiful sunshiny weather. So went down to the beach, which was great. Really enjoyed that. Now, so you can see I am just creating these boxes across the page. I'm going over the shapes that I've done. I'm not thinking about it too much. Remember that kind of overthinking just stifles us a little bit. Let's do this. This is one of the exercises that I do in my art groups, and when I was teaching in schools we would do this kind of exercise to start us off. Now, one of the schools that I worked in had the art room right at the other end, right at the end of one, can't get my words out here, right at the end of the school. So if students were doing another subject that was over the other side, it would take them ages to get to the art room. So they would arrive in kind of dribs and drabs. So while we were kind of waiting for students to arrive, I'd get them to do this kind of thing in their sketchbooks. So you can see, kind of filled the space. And what I'm going to do now is choose my colours. Now, let's go back to our trusted colour wheel. And we're going to use analogous colours. And analogous colours are the colours that are close together in the colour wheel, and they will all work really, really well. So like with these ones, I use different shades of blue. So I'm going to this time use these sort of orange, let's get that again, oranges and yellow. I'm using a soft brush. This is nothing fancy at all. I got it from, where did I get it from? I think I got it from the pound shop actually. There's a whole set of them. Here we go. Let's just grab here. There was a whole set. And I think I got 6 brushes for about £1.50, something like that. And I thought, well, I'll try them out. And they're not bad. They won't last for ages. They won't. But if you are just trying things out, they're a good option. And the idea is you're going to fill in the spaces. And when we're working with watercolour, we need to practice how the paint moves and what it does. And it's so important that you have an understanding. Now, the pen that I used will bleed, and that's the effect that I wanted in this, but yours might not, and that's fine. So the more we practice working with paint, the better you're going to get. And this is why I say to lots of my students and lots of my students' parents that talent is really overrated, because I really believe that it is. I think that you can have a huge amount of talent and then do nothing at all with it, and nothing will happen. Or you could have, you know, a tiny bit of talent, but work your socks off, and you will get better and better and better. So that's just my little philosophical thought for this Monday. I'm carrying on with yellow. When we work with yellow, yellow will corrupt very, very easily. So if I am going to use yellow, I tend to use it first, because then I know there's no other colour on my brush. Now I know that the black is leaking, and that's the effect that I wanted. If you don't want that, then make sure that your pen is waterproof. There we go. You see, I'm just sort of filling in some of these shapes. Thank you so much for your lovely comments. The previous videos, the comments are just wonderful. Thank you so much. I read every single one, and they're really uplifting, actually. You're thoughtful and, yeah, kind. Thank you. If you'd like to join the Facebook group, it's very friendly. Lovely space. Please answer the questions. It helps me to kind of avoid all the bots that appear in our modern world, to know that you're a real person. Right, I'm just going into orange now. There we go. So yeah, write in the comments. Tell me what you've been doing. Tell me what the weather's like. Always like a weather update. It's brilliant. My knowledge of the world's weather has increased hugely since doing my channel, which is so lovely. And yeah, just makes me smile. And it is really nice to know that there are people from all over the world watching, sharing, being supportive. It's very lovely. Let's just do that one in there. This actually is a very relaxing exercise. I'm just going to turn this around. So if you're feeling a little bit stressed, it's quite a good one to do. Obviously, we're doing this in watercolour because I want you to practice your watercolour skills, but I'm sure that there are some of you who are thinking, oh, I could do that with colouring pencil or felt tip pens or crayons. Well, of course you can. You can do whatever you want. Let's do this. And straight away we can see how these colours are working together, and how it all kind of comes together. Let's just pop that one in there, like that. I'll do a few more, and then I'm going to do another colour. You can start where you want. You can start in the middle if you want to. Doesn't matter, but the idea is that you're going to have spaces in which to put your colours. Again, don't think about it too much. And if something goes a bit curvy, then it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's just playing, just an experiment. There we go. Fix those there. Now this time I'm going to be using greens and yellows, sort of blue going into green, going into yellow. I'm going to use my same paints and the same principle that we did before. And again, when we're working on this small scale, you can really get your techniques refined, no matter what sort of paint you're using. So you could do this exercise using acrylic paint, kind of get really good at getting consistent colour and just using sort of tiny bits, tiny little experiments. You see, I'm just putting these in. But what I'll do with these is I'll use them as sort of starting points for larger pieces. And I go on and on and on about developing your art, and a lot of people don't really get what that means. And it's like when you have an idea of what you want to do and then you just dive straight in, I think you miss out on a lot. Whereas if you start off with an idea like this, then you think about it for a bit, then you develop it and see where that might go, and then you develop it a bit further, and suddenly there is a greater sophistication in your work. And if you're doing a qualification, I mean, certainly in the UK, if you're doing A-levels or a degree, your examiners will want to see how you have developed your work. And it's no good just saying, well, I had this idea and then I just did it. You know, that's not actually going to get you the marks. And this is why working in a sketchbook, tracking what you do, making little notes, is really, really helpful and really useful. Now I'm using these colours directly. I'm not mixing them at all. And I've just broken my own rule about putting yellow on first. But hey, I'm an artist. It's breaking rules. I do that quite a lot. I use my sketchbooks all the time when I look back on things that I've done. And if I've used a technique that is slightly unusual, if I've used a medium that's a bit more unusual, I write it down most of the time. Sometimes I forget, and then I look back and think, oh, I really like that. How did I do that? And then I think, I've got no idea. No idea how I did that. So you can see I'm sort of building these together. I'm going to do these the same colours. They're going to be together in the sketchbook, and I'll put them in. And I'm just sort of putting these colours in like this. Just enjoying it, really. When you're doing this, you know, give yourself time. You listen to some music or a story or just peace and quiet. I've just got my sparrows who live in the hedge opposite me, making quite a lot of noise actually, which is really nice actually. It's very nice. So that. There we go. So I will do this for these two. I might add a tiny bit of blue in as well. And then we will go on to the next one where we will start mixing our colours. Let's just finish that little bit there. So I put on a little bit of blue and worked on those colours, and I think that those two work really well together. The next one, I'm going to do these on cartridge paper. I'm going to do long, thin strip. I just want to encourage you to try different shapes of paper. You know, paper doesn't have to be square or, you know, just the size that it comes in. You know, tear it up. Use your whatever you've got, and just sort of change things around. I'm going to just use my pen, my waterproof pen, and I'm going to do the same thing again, just sort of building up these sorts of shapes. So again, the more frequently that you do these, the easier it will be, the freer you'll become. You won't worry about it so much, and hopefully you won't worry about it at all. So now I'm just going to go right the way through there. So some are going to overlap. Let's just come down this way a bit more and then join up there. So that's going to be my first one. Now I'm going to start to mix some of the colours. I'm still using this paint, and I'm going to be mixing some of these colours together. Now this time I'm going to work with purples, going from blue right through to red. Now the colours here are very vibrant, which is lovely. So I'm just going to put this on as a pure colour so that you can see just how vibrant that purple is. There we go. But if you want to have something that's a little bit more subtle, then this is where we can start to, let's just spread that little bit of water in there, start to mix this colour with another. Now you could use black, mix it with a bit of black. I'll just show you how that's going to come out. Can you see that? It's gone a bit dusty. It's very subtle actually. You might not see that as well as I can see it here. Let's just do another one there. I'm going to pick up my red. There we go. See that sort of a red? It's got a bit of purple in it because the paint moved into it. And let's just really mix up those reds and purples and see what we get. Again, there's not much paint in there, but there's enough to give it some colour. And I'm just going to play around with these more muted shades like this. Now, true watercolour aficionados will say that you never use white in watercolour, but you know me, I tend to ignore those sorts of rules, and I kind of do my own thing. So I am going to add white, and again you'll get these sort of subtles, and they will be very, very subtle. Let me just... So with this bit here, this one I did purple with a tiny bit of black, this one purple with a tiny bit of white. No, actually a lot of white. You don't need to use very much black, but you do need to use quite a bit of white. So just popping in this bit of using white here. Let's just pick up a bit of purple and just start playing with the disperse technique. And use, you know, that little blob there, that's fine. We can leave that there. So this bit is very much playing with mixing a colour either with another colour. So I've just got a bit of green here. So this is purple and green which makes the most gorgeous grey. Look at that. I really want this to be a sort of experimental, try things out, try colours that maybe you wouldn't use, you know, they're not your favourites, just to play with that. I'm going to pick up that bit there. Obviously, if you mix all of the colours together, you're going to get brown, and that can be terrific as well. Look at that. That is a gorgeous brown. Loving that. One of the exercises that I also do with my A-level students and my graduate students is, you know, colour mixing and getting them to really work on their colour palettes, and I get them to make notes of how much paint they use, which colour combinations, which is quite laborious, but it's a very good exercise. I'm not asking you to do that though, unless you have a burning desire to do it. There we go. So again, I'm just using the spaces. This is like the background space here, just to kind of see what happens. So identical technique to the other exercises, but completely different response. Let's just do, and I like these subtle colours, and you can get that kind of dusty colour, and that can work really, really well. So I'm going to just sort of play around with these. So let me know in the comments what you think, what colours you like to use, or what you're going to do, what colour combinations you think that you're going to try, because you haven't really done those before. So I know that some of you, like me, do kind of prefer the bright, vibrant colours, but every so often we have to go a bit subtle, I think. Okay, just popping those in there. Yeah, I am liking this sort of green mixed with the purple. I know I was just going to go and do reds in this, but I've changed my mind. And you're allowed to do that. You're definitely allowed to change your mind. Let's pop that one in there, because I am actually really liking this combination. I think it's working quite well. So I will do a little bit more on this, and then I'll show you how I put them into my sketchbook. Or if you're already working in your sketchbook, then that's fine, isn't it? But I really do encourage you to keep these experimental pieces. So however you want to keep them. But I will show you what I do. So I did a little bit more on this one. I'll leave it to dry and I might work into it a little bit later. Right, this is the last one I'm going to do. I'm going to use an acrylic marker pen. You could use a Sharpie pen, something like that. Same technique, but this time the outlines are going to be much bolder, like this. So it just gives it a different kind of vibe to it. Let's just sort of move around the shapes, join back up. So I've got this, and we're going to do this, you know, similar sort of thing, but this time I'm going to use my sort of turquoisey blue. I love this, and instead of just going into each individual space, I'm going to go across the patterns like this, and to use this sort of turquoise blue that I love, like this, and then I'm going to use that moss green here, sort of bringing that out like that. Combining the colours together. And again, it's picking up some of the black from the marker because it was an acrylic pen and I didn't leave it to dry. There we go. So you're going to get that sort of, those sorts of subtleties in it as well. Just filling the whole page like this. Like that, and then I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I'm going to do some work on top of it. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go back to these ones and think about how I'm going to put them into my sketchbook and sort of make some notes and things like that. So I'm just going to trim this one up. I like to use a ruler to trim my work, but you could use scissors, craft knife. Let me just think about how I'm going to do these. I like putting together pages in my sketchbook that I know that I'm going to go back to, and I will make little journal notes on and things like that. So with this one, what I'll do is I'll say this is one of my YouTube tutorials, and I'll pop the date on it, and I'll write a few notes relating to it. Now this has got quite an interesting shape here, and I'm thinking I don't need to have that as a square, do I? I can cut into this like that, make it a little bit more interesting. Same with this side, I think. So even if you are you're an absolute beginner and you're thinking, you know, most of the stuff I do is rubbish, or all those sorts of bad negative thoughts, I strongly encourage you to keep your work. Please don't throw it away. You need to be able to see your progress, and that's what happens with your sketchbook, because you can see that you've got better, because you will get better. You absolutely will. So I'm actually really liking, I'm really enjoying this, making these shapes. One of the most sort of challenging things that I have with my students is trying to get them to fish the stuff out the bin. They'll throw it away. Get it out of the bin. Let's put it back in your sketchbook. And they'll go, yeah, I really hate it. I said, but that's fine. So write a comment. Say that you really hate it. Say why you really hate it. Say what went wrong. That's quite hard. That's quite a hard lesson. As I'm sure some of you will be able to relate. You see, I'm just sort of playing around with some of these, thinking about how best to put these on the page. See, I quite like that. I think that works well, and I can just do some writing on there. So perhaps put these. And then finally with this one, I thought I would cut them into bits and play around with this sort of jaggedy type shapes, and that just made me very happy. Oh, let me just play with this idea. And of course, once you've kind of cut them up like this, then my brain starts going, oh, what if I turn some of them round and move them about? And that is the absolute joy of a sketchbook, isn't it? You can just try out new things, see what happens. So I will play around with these and I will stick them down, and then I'll show you everything that we've done so far. So it's got my last one here. It's just dry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the same colours, but much more intense. So very strong colours now, but they're the same colours into these spaces. And this is where you can get this lovely idea of the sort of the subtlety of the background, but then using the same colours, the stronger pigmentation, which can just look really exciting, I think. I'll just do a few. So I hope you've got lots of ideas. I'm just going to turn that one round, of things that you want to do, and the experimental pieces you're going to do. There we go. And if you've joined the Facebook group, you could share your experiments. That would be lovely. It is such a supportive space. If you're too shy to share your work, then you could comment on somebody else's and be really sort of supportive of them. Or you could just write what you think, what colours you're going to go with. Yeah, that sort of thing. There we go. So you can see this is kind of, it's a completely different impact, but quite interesting. And this will go in my sketchbook as well. So right at the very end, I will show you what my sketchbook looks like. I'm going to go in with the turquoise in here. There we go. That's that. Now I have created a membership. If you think that that might be something that you'd like, I'll be releasing specific tutorials just for the members. I've called it Open Studio, and we'll be doing sort of more in-depth studies and things like that. So if that's something that you think that you might like, then that would be lovely. Be very nice. All of the details of things like that are in the description. There we go. Quite liking this. I'm liking the colours. I think they're working really well. Let's just do another one there to finish it off. And then that will go into my sketchbook. I've placed these in my sketchbook. Quite pleased with how they've turned out. I've just put some little notes here. I might add to those as well. And then the final ones, I decided I'd put a little bit of mark making, a few little dots, and I'll play with those as well. So I really hope you enjoyed that tutorial and that you've got lots of ideas and you're putting them into your sketchbook and not putting them in the bin, and that you've got ideas that you can develop further. And remember to like and subscribe and all of that kind of stuff, and leave a comment because it helps to keep the channel going. And I just love reading your comments because they're brilliant. And if you want to learn more, you could look at this one or this one, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.